Mega Man 9, or Rockman 9 if you are that kind of individual, is what we in the Mega Man fan industry call a peak product. Well, some of us at least.
Value utility in your life, and if you've got self-respect, any self-respect left, don't give me this game. It's intended purely to put you up and very little else.
It's certainly my favorite of the Mega Man games, either this or Mega Man 10. Mega Man 9 is just so well designed. But perhaps I'm just far too online, because I see a lot of people, especially younger Mega Man fans, give this game a lot of hate. Now, I know better than to interact with the fans of things, mainly because I enjoy talking to people with competent social skills more than I enjoy extended discussions about the characterization of video game characters with as much thought put into their personalities as cereal mascots, or other similar inane subject matter that one who does not read books can preoccupy themselves with. However, as someone who has in fact read books, I don't really need a series like Mega Man to have a particularly complex story, which is why I appreciate that while Mega Man 9 does have an opening cutscene, starting the game will immediately take you to the Robot Master selection screen. The Robot Master selection in this game is just fantastic. Great characters such as Magma Man, or the Maga Man as they call him on the streets, and, for the first time in the series, a bee-related boss. The game keeps up the tradition of having each stage be highly individualized for each boss, both mechanically and aesthetically, and each of them are some of the most well thought out boss fights the series has had, each of them featuring a unique pattern testing different skills. Jewel Man forcing you to be careful with your shots as to not get hit by the projectiles that fly out when hit, or Magma Man forcing you to carefully space yourself around him so that you can run under his short hops without getting hit. This game, in fact, features the best Robot Master of all time, Plug Man.
Today, I'm going to see what happens when you stick a fork in an electrical outlet.
Plug Man lives a hard life. Sticking his head into sockets is not easy, but hard games create hard boss fights. He not only makes you pay attention to your positioning in relation to him, but also the projectiles that crawl across the floor and walls and then come down from the ceiling. Rockman 9 is a game that tests many of your Rockman skills. It does not feature some mechanics from previous entries, notably the slide. Some people have dismissed this as simple nostalgia for Mega Man 1 and 2, but if your brain is as large as the Doc Robot's hitbox like mine, then you would realize that was a deliberate choice in balancing the game. Since Mega Man does not have a quick movement options, the developers are more easily able to predict where the player can go in certain situations, allowing for a more challenging set of enemies. For example, if you could simply slide like in Mega Man 3, manipulating the trajectory of Galaxy Man's attack would not be as much of a factor in the fight if you could get away from the black hole and Galaxy Man easily. This game does little things like encourage this kind of micromanagement by rewarding you with the opportunity to get more hits. The charge shot is also not present, making it so you need to have greater reflexes to take out enemies in time before they can hit you. Mega Man can only fire 3 bullets on the screen at once, so timing the shots is important. Of course, in the most up-to-date collection of these games, there's an auto-fire feature that makes this factor of the design completely arbitrary. But if you want to test your true Mega Man skills, then I would encourage playing without it. Unless you are old and cannot mash anymore. That may be a problem. That may be a problem for me very soon. Mega Man 9 is made for people like me who have played the classics over and over and have gotten good at them, and desire a greater challenge. The game is designed around the expectation that you know how the games work, and can accept some design that I am sure someone who loves Sony games or would prefer that some games to be quote-unquote more modernized would call antiquated. Mega Man 9 embraces this retro design philosophy and uses it to its greatest extent to create a most fulfilling retro action platforming gaming experience. Not that the game is perfect. The pixel art could have stood to be more on the same level as Mega Man 6, rather than going for something more akin to Mega Man 2 and 3 levels of detail, and there are certainly some design duds in there. These platforms and Concrete Man stage only show up once at the very end of the stage to give you a very rudimentary challenge, and never again. Though, sometimes it's good to give the player a break. Some of these mechanics, if stretched out to their greatest possible extent, could be quite overwhelming. And having played some Mega Man fan games, I am far too familiar with the concept of constantly pummeling the player with challenges until they would like to scream. Sometimes it's okay to relax and enjoy it for what it is without being too concerned about grabbing an arbitrary new audience. Mega Man 9 on the surface might not appear to be advancing the series in any significant way, but the strength of its design and how it refines the ideas of the previous games, I would argue, is in fact an advancement. The previous 8 or 9 or 14 entries, depending on who you ask, don't even come close to Mega Man 9 in terms of quality. The 8-bit pixel art also complements the simple character designs and benefits the gameplay by perfectly communicating what each thing needs to communicate to the player. And this is just the kind of stuff that I associate with Mega Man. And I think if Mega Man wants to be good, the series just needs to keep doing what it does, but good. I don't know. If you're making a product, I guess you want to attract new people to it, but you have to add some things even if they are arbitrary. So maybe there just isn't a place for games like Mega Man 9 and 10 in this series anymore. But even if that's the case, I'll still continue to replay these games and enjoy them.